You know, this story, it goes way beyond just murder. This is about a calculated journey right into the heart of obsession. It's about a chilling conspiracy, one fueled by control that stretched over 1,000 miles, all just to silence one woman. It was November 7th, 1997. In a quiet, unsuspecting Florida suburb, a scene of just unimaginable horror was about to be discovered. 35-year-old Sheila Bellish was found dead, and you could tell right away this was no random act of violence. And that one single fact, that was a chilling whisper in the silence of the crime scene. It meant the killer wasn't some stranger who broke in. It meant Sheila might have actually opened the door for her own killer.
The horror of that day, it didn't start with a scream. It started with the innocent excitement of a 13-year-old girl. Stevie got home from school totally eager to tell her mom about some boy. But instead, she walked right into a living nightmare.
Her 4 little toddler siblings, they were standing there in the hallway, their innocent cries just echoing in the silence. They were the only witnesses to their mother's murder, their small bodies splattered with her blood. But they were just too young to speak, their secrets totally locked away.
So investigators start piecing together this brutal attack. A gunshot to the face, a desperate fight for her life, and then a kitchen knife. Those toddlers' tiny, bloody footprints, they were like a haunting map of the final, terrible moments. The only real clue? A single, unidentified fingerprint on the dryer.
Okay, so with no signs of a break-in, the investigation had to turn inward. Police had to start looking at the very people who were supposed to love Sheila, the people who were closest to her. Sheila's husband, Jamie, he was cleared. He had a solid alibi. A former pool man who had apparently made her feel uneasy, ruled out by DNA. And her ex-husband, Alan Blackthorne, well, he was hundreds of miles away in Texas. Every single lead was a dead end. The investigation was completely stalled. So this was the question just echoing in the empty evidence room. I mean, this was a personal, brutal murder. And yet, everyone close to Sheila was in the clear. How is that possible? Who could have done this? Then, the first crack in the case. It didn't come from forensics or some high-tech lab. It came from a simple observation. A local gardener, a guy who knew the neighborhood, he saw something that just didn't belong. A strange car, an out-of-state plate, and a driver in camouflage pants.
And this right here, this is where the case turned. It was just one man's gut feeling. Jake Mass knew something was wrong, and he did something pretty remarkable. He memorized the license plate. YBR62G, a simple act of just paying attention that would unravel a whole nationwide conspiracy.
So, investigators ran the plate in Texas, which is where Sheila had recently moved from, and it came back to this guy Joey Del Toro, a small-time criminal, kind of a party boy. But here's the thing, there was absolutely nothing connecting him to Sheila Bellish. Nothing at all.
Police found his car, and inside, well, the case just exploded wide open. The gun, a perfect ballistic match. The pants, covered in Sheila's DNA. And the fingerprint on the trigger, it was the exact same one from the dryer. They had their killer. But the real question was still just hanging there. Why? So the whole investigation now had a brand new focus. Joey Del Toro was the trigger man, for sure, but he wasn't the mastermind. He had traveled over 1,000 miles to kill a woman he'd never even met. So, who sent him? Who paid him?
Under interrogation, Del Toro's cousin, a guy named Sammy Gonzalez, he started talking. And he laid out the whole chain. A local bookie, Danny Rocha, had approached him. He was looking for someone to, quote, punish a so-called bad mother. Gonzalez then brought in his cousin, Del Toro. But Rocha, he was just the middleman. The real power was somewhere else.
So the question became this: who hated Sheila Bellish so much that they would order her death? And who had the money to make it happen from 1,000 miles away? The answer, it turns out, would lead investigators right back to where they started. Investigators started digging into Danny Rocha's life. Turns out he was trying to open a sports bar, and he really needed money. And the person who was asking for that money, well, that was the final, horrifying piece of the puzzle. The man pulling all the strings was Sheila's multi-millionaire ex-husband, Alan Blackthorne. His alibi was perfect, right? He wasn't the trigger man, he was the architect of the whole thing. You see, publicly, Blackthorne was a pillar of the community. He was charming, successful, but behind closed doors, he was a monster.
an abusive, controlling man who was just obsessed with Sheila. So when she finally escaped to Florida with their daughters, he lost his grip. And he decided if he couldn't have her, well, no one would.
And this was the price he put on her life, $10,000. That's what he promised a complete stranger to fly across the country and murder the mother of his own children.
Because the murder plot crossed state lines, the FBI took over. And they arrested Blackthorne on a golf course, the very place where he'd set his deadly plan in motion. And after that, one by one, the dominoes fell. Del Toro, Gonzalez, Rocha, and then finally Blackthorne himself, sentenced to 2 life terms without any possibility of parole.
You know, in the end, justice was served. But the scars of this crime, they're never gonna fade. It's just this haunting reminder of the darkness that can hide behind a perfect facade, and the immeasurable tragedy of a mother's life stolen, a family destroyed, and children left to grow up in the shadow of a truly calculated killing.